At the start of the drama, Dr. Ji-sun enters the house carrying a painting and hangs that painting on the wall. In this painting are Ji-sun, her husband Taye, and their son Lee. Ji-sun feels happy looking at that painting and then, after changing her clothes, starts making food for Taye and Lee. Then late at night, Taye comes home. Taye is an unsuccessful film director and is financially dependent on his wife. Taye needs an investor for his film. Therefore, he had gone on a trip and just now returns from the trip. Ji-sun is asleep. Taye goes near her. Seeing Taye, she wakes up and here both of them spend good time together. The next morning, Ji-sun is cleaning when a lip gloss falls out of Tae's clothes. Ji-sun picks it up and asks Taye, "What is this?" Taye says, "This is my lip gloss." Ji-sun believes his words. Then when Ji-sun gets ready and is going to the hospital, Taye puts a scarf on her and hugs her. Seeing this, Ji-sun is very happy that her husband loves her so much. Then Tae's gaze goes to that painting and Taye says to Ji-sun, "You look very beautiful in this painting." Hearing this, Ji-sun becomes even happier and goes to the hospital happily. At the hospital, when she removes her scarf, she sees a long, brown-colored hair on the scarf. Seeing this, she suspects Taye. Is his affair going on with some other girl? After this, Ji-sun starts checking her patients. First of all, a patient named Min comes to her who is very depressed. Min says to Ji-sun, "Please give me sleeping pills." But Ji-sun does not prescribe sleeping pills to her. Then the chairman's wife comes there. Ji-sun sees here that the hair color of the chairman's wife is also brown. The chairman's wife says to her, "I invite you to a party," and leaves from there. Then Ji-sun, after finishing her work, goes to pick up Lee from school. There she sees that all the ladies have colored their hair in this way. Seeing this, Ji-sun understands. It is difficult to find out from one hair with whom Tae's affair is going on. Then Lee comes there, and Ji-sun is going with him when she meets Tae's assistant there, who is divorced. Here, from that assistant, Ji-sun finds out Tae leaves the office early every day, but he comes home late. Hearing this, Ji-sun's suspicion becomes even firmer. Then Ji-sun looks at the assistant's hair. Her hair is also like that. Seeing this, Ji-sun suspects her as well. She thinks, is this the girl with whom Tae's affair is going on? Then, at night, when Tae comes home late, Ji-sun asks him, "What is the reason for coming late?" Tae says, "I have come on time." Hearing this, Ji-sun becomes even more worried because the assistant had told her, Tae leaves for home early every day. Then she takes some food and goes to meet her neighbors, Jae and Rim. Jae is also her husband's friend. After going there, Ji-sun sees that Rim's hair color is also the same. She asks Rim about this. Rim says, "The chairman's wife has kept this color, that is why everyone has gotten such a color done." These people are talking when Rim's husband Jae arrives there. He sees Ji-sun in the house and becomes happy. Seeing him here, it is known that he likes Ji-sun. After this, Ji-sun goes home and starts checking Tae's phone, but just then Tae comes into the room, so she is not able to check the phone. Then she secretly checks Tae's coat, but she does not find anything in it. After this, Tae goes to take a shower, so Ji-sun checks his phone, but she does not find anything in it. The next day, Ji-sun tells all these things to her doctor friend, Myung. Ji-sun says, "I found a lip gloss and a hair. My suspicion is growing." Myung tells her, "You are just thinking all of this for no reason. Tae is not like that at all." But Ji-sun does not believe her words. Then she takes an early leave from the hospital and follows Tae to see where he goes after the office. Then on the way, she sees Min, who is her patient. Min's boyfriend is hitting her. Ji-sun does not help her here and continues following Tae. Here, nothing comes into Ji-sun's hands because Tae comes to the hospital to meet his mom. Ji-sun also goes behind him, and seeing Tae with his mom, she feels bad. And she comes out of the room. Behind her, Tae also comes out and says, "I come to the hospital every day to meet my mom." Hearing this, Ji-sun is surprised and says, "You come home late from the office every day. That is why I felt that your affair was going on with someone. That is why I followed you today." Tae says, "There is nothing like that. You are just doubting me like this." Hearing this, Ji-sun says, "I am sorry." Tae says, "It is okay." Then Ji-sun goes to the nurse to get a flower pot, where the nurse, during the conversation, tells Ji-sun, Tae has come to meet his mother today after a very long time. Hearing this, Ji-sun feels very bad because Tae lied to her. "I come to meet my mom every day." Now Ji-sun becomes firmly convinced, my husband's affair is going on with someone. Then at night, both of them go to the chairman's party. There Tae says to Ji-sun, "I will talk to the chairman here about the investment so that he invests in my film." He goes to talk to the chairman, but the chairman ignores him and starts talking to others. Seeing this, Ji-sun comes there. Here, the chairman's wife introduces Ji-sun to everyone. She tells everyone, "This is Ji-sun, our talented doctor." Everyone is impressed by Ji-sun. Then Ji-sun introduces them to Tae, saying, "This is my husband." Hearing this, those people say hello to him. Then Ji-sun tells them he is a film director. Hearing this, those people start talking to him about films. Then Ji-sun starts noticing the hair of the chairman's wife. After this, the chairman introduces Ji-sun to his daughter, Dak-young, as well. Then Ji-sun meets Min there. Min has come there to work as a waiter. Ji-sun says to her, I am sorry that I did not prescribe those sleeping pills to you. Min says, my life has many problems. I need those sleeping pills, but until you prescribe them to me, I will not get the pills. Hearing this, Ji-sun becomes silent. Then she comes home and thinks about this. The next day, she meets Min and gives her the prescription for sleeping pills and says, in exchange for this, you have to do one job for me. Min asks, what is the job? Then Ji-sun tells her, my husband's affair is going on with someone. You have to find out who she is. Min says, okay. Then Min follows Taye. When Taye meets a lady, Min calls and tells Ji-sun, Taye is meeting a lady right now. She also tells here that lady's face is not visible. Hearing this, Ji-sun feels very bad. Then Ji-sun meets Min and gives her money for this work. Then Min tells her, Taye has hidden something in the trunk of his car. Then it is Tae's birthday, for which he and Lee had been preparing for a long time. Ji-sun comes to the party with a cake, so Tae takes the cake from her. Then during the conversation, Ji-sun takes his car keys from Tae. Then after Tae leaves, she checks the trunk of his car, and she finds a mobile phone in it. When Ji-sun checks it, she finds out Tae's affair is going on with the chairman's daughter, Dak-young. Seeing this, she is shocked. Here she also finds out, my friends also know about this, and they have also hidden this matter from me. Knowing all this, Ji-sun becomes very angry. Then she puts the mobile back in the trunk and goes to kill Tae with a scalpel. But seeing her son, she stops. Then Tae praises Ji-sun in front of everyone at the party and also says, I love you to her. Hearing this, Ji-sun goes to him and kisses him. Seeing this, everyone is happy for them. At that time, Dak-young is also at the party, and she feels very bad seeing this. Then Tae is talking to the people who came to the party, and then he secretly holds Dak-young's hand. Because of this, Dak-young becomes happy. Then Ji-sun sees this and she feels bad seeing it. Then Ji-sun goes to talk to Dak-young. Here, during the conversation, she says some things to Dak-young. You should be careful with whom you spend your time. Dak-young feels bad about this. On the other side, Tae is drinking with his friends when Jae says to him, you do not deserve Ji-sun. Here he says more things to Tae. Because of this, Tae feels bad and he starts fighting with him. Due to this fight, Tae gets injured on his hand. So Ji-sun applies medicine to his hand and then leaves from there saying, I am feeling unwell. Then at night, when Tae goes to Dak-young fights with him and tells him, divorce Ji-sun. Tae says, everything I said about Ji-sun today, I said it as a lie. I do not love her. I only love you. Tae talks like this to Dak-young here, so Dak-young becomes emotional hearing his words and kisses him. Both are kissing each other when someone sees them through a camera. And seeing this, he is shocked, and his camera falls right there. Then Lee is going, and he is very worried. In fact, Lee was the one who saw Tae with Dak-young. Because of this, he is very worried and is going from there when Ji-sun's doctor friend, Myung, sees him. She comes to Lee and asks him, why are you so worried? But Lee does not tell her anything. Then Myung takes him and comes home. Ji-sun sees Lee worried, so she asks him, what happened? Why are you so worried? But Lee does not tell her anything either and goes to his room. After this, Myung notices that Ji-sun is also somewhat worried. She asks Ji-sun about it, and Ji-sun says to her, you know that my husband's affair is going on, then why did you not tell me this? Myung says, I was about to tell you, but Tae told me that he is going to end this affair. For this reason, I did not tell you. Then Myung leaves from there. After a little while, Tae comes home, so Ji-sun does not say anything to him about how she has found out everything about Tae's affair. In fact, she remains silent for Lee because Lee had to go to a baseball match with Tae. The next day, Ji-sun says to Tae, you have to go with Lee. Tae says, okay. Then he goes for the baseball match with Lee. After this, Ji-sun goes to the hospital, and then Dak-young comes to her for a checkup. Ji-sun checks her, and then she finds out Dak-young is pregnant. Knowing this, Ji-sun feels even worse. Then she tells Dak-young, you are pregnant. Hearing this, Dak-young becomes worried and leaves from there. After a little while, Myung comes to Ji-sun and says, Dak-young wants to get an abortion, and she does not want to tell this to Tae. Over there, Lee plays the match and wins it. Because of this, both Lee and Tae are very happy. Then at night, Ji-sun calls Lee and asks him, how was the match? So Lee tells her, I won the match. Hearing this, Ji-sun is happy, but then she remembers Tae's words, I do not love her, I only love you. So she cuts the call and starts crying. After this, she goes to meet Min, where Min's boyfriend is hitting her. Ji-sun saves her from her boyfriend, and then brings her along and applies medicine to her wounds. Min says thank you to her for all this and says, if you ever need my help, please definitely tell me. I will surely help you. Ji-sun says, okay. The next day, Lee and Taye return from the camp, and both of them are very happy together. Seeing this, Ji-sun feels good. Then at night, the three of them are eating food, where, seeing everyone so happy, Ji-sun thinks, oh, if Taye tells me the truth and leaves Dak-young, then I will give Taye another chance. On the other side, Lee's camera is found by a man, which contained when Taye and Dak-young were kissing is recorded. The next morning at breakfast time, Ji-sun asks Taye, is your affair going on with someone? Taye says, no, there is nothing like that. Ji-sun says, I am firmly convinced that your affair is going on with someone. Taye still says the same thing. There is nothing like that. I only love you and you are the only one in my life. There's a lot of argument between the two regarding this matter, but Taye still does not admit his mistake. So Ji-sun goes to her room, and after going to the room, she thinks for a while, and then messages Myung and says, you tell Taye about Dak-young's pregnancy? Myung then calls and tells Taye, Dak-young is pregnant. And along with that, she also tells, Dak-young wants to get an abortion. Knowing this, Taye becomes worried. Just then, Ji-sun comes downstairs and says to Taye, what is the matter? Why are you looking so worried? Taye says, it is nothing. Then he calls Dak-young, but her call does not connect. So he tells Ji-sun, I have some urgent work, and leaves from there. Seeing this, Ji-sun feels bad. Here she remembers, when I became pregnant, Taye was happy. And at that time, Taye asked me, will you marry me? And only after that did we both get married. Then Taye goes to Dak-young and tells her, do not get an abortion. He assures her, I love you. I do not love Ji-sun, and I am not happy with her. Hearing this, Dak-young starts thinking. Over there, Ji-sun goes to meet Tae's mom, and Tae's mom asks her, where is Taye? Ji-sun says, Taye is busy with some work, but he will come to meet you soon. Over there, Taye meets Myung, and Myung suggests to him, choose one of the two. On this, Taye says, I love both of them, and I cannot leave even one. Then Ji-sun comes home and sees that Taye is making food for her. Seeing this, she is surprised. Here Taye reacts as if nothing has happened. Ji-sun feels even worse about this. Then at night, Taye sees that Ji-sun has fallen asleep, so he takes his phone and goes to talk to Dak-young. Ji-sun sees this and she becomes very angry. The next day, she goes to meet a lawyer for a divorce. The lawyer says to her, if you want to get a divorce from your husband on the grounds that he is cheating on you, then you will have to bring some evidence against him. Hearing this, Ji-sun becomes worried. Where will I bring the evidence from? Over there, Lee is in a piano class with a school friend whose parents are divorced. Seeing her, Lee is worried, may my parents not get divorced as well? Then Min comes to Ji-sun to show her wound. Ji-sun sees her wound and then applies medicine. Then Ji-sun tells her, leave your boyfriend. Min says, this is not so easy. She says to Ji-sun, your husband is also cheating on you, but can you leave your husband? Ji-sun says, yes, I have made the decision to get a divorce. Hearing this, Min is surprised. Ji-sun says, now I need evidence against him for the divorce. The day I get it, I will take a divorce from Taye. Min says, if you need my help, then I will surely help. Ji-sun says, yes, I need your help. You help me in collecting proof against my husband. Min says, okay, I will do this work. Then Ji-sun goes to a shop to get some books for Lee. There she meets Dak-young. Ji-sun asks her, will you keep this child, or will you have an abortion? Dak-young says, I will keep this child. Hearing this, Ji-sun starts laughing and says, you will give birth to this child without marriage, what will people say? That boy will never marry you. You are just a time pass for him. Hearing this, Dak-young feels bad. She says, I have a 2-year relationship with him. Ji-sun hears this and becomes sad. Taye has been cheating on me for 2 years. Then Ji-sun finds out through her lawyer's assistant, Taye taking out loans in your name. Hearing this, Ji-sun cannot believe it. Then she checks at home, and then she finds some documents from which she finds out Taye has indeed taken a lot of loans in my name and Lee's name. Seeing this, Ji-sun becomes very angry. Just then, Lee comes there and says to Ji-sun, just like my friend's parents got divorced, I do not want my parents to get divorced either. Ji-sun becomes emotional hearing Lee's words. She was thinking about all this when she gets a message from Taye. I will be working in the office until late tonight, so do not wait for me and go to sleep. Seeing this message, Ji-sun feels Taye must be with Dak-young. Therefore, she goes to the office to collect evidence against them. But after going there, she sees Taye is actually working in the office. So Ji-sun has to return just like that, and nothing comes into her hands. After this, Ji-sun goes to the hospital to meet Tae's mom, where, during the conversation, Ji-sun finds out Tae's mom already knows about Tae's affair. Ji-sun says, what Tae has done to me is very wrong. Now I will not leave him. Tae's mom says to Ji-sun, you forgive Tae. Ji-sun says, no, I will not forgive him. Then Ji-soon comes home, and she is very worried, while her neighbor Jae is watching her from the window. The next day, Tae's mom dies. When Tae finds this out, he goes to his mom and cries a lot. Then Ji-sun also arrives there, and she tells someone, prepare for the funeral. Then Da-kyung also finds out about this matter. When the chairman and his wife were going to the funeral, Da-kyung comes to them and says, I will also go to the funeral. Then those people refuse her and say, we are going, this is enough, you stay at home. Then Tae's mom's funeral takes place where Tae is sitting very sad at first. But when the chairman and his wife arrive, Tae forgets everything and starts serving them. Seeing this, Ji-sun does not feel good, so she goes and sits outside. Da-kyung also arrives outside the funeral hall. Then the chairman and his wife leave from there. Tae says to them, goodbye. Ji-sun also sees them leaving. Then Ji-sun notices Tae is going somewhere, so she follows him. Tae goes to the other side of the funeral hall and meets Da-kyung and starts kissing her. Just then, Ji-sun reaches there and sees him doing all this. So, seeing this, tears come to her eyes. Then Jae is passing from there, so he also sees Ji-sun has seen Tae with another girl, and the next day, everyone goes to Tae's mom's grave and prays. Ji-sun remains silent here as well and does not react. Then everyone comes home, and Lee is very sad for his grandma, so Ji-sun consoles him. After this, Tae comes and hugs Ji-sun from behind and says, thank you for supporting me in such a hard time. Ji-sun is angry with Tae, so she immediately pushes his hand back. Seeing this, Tae starts thinking, why has Ji-sun done this? Ji-sun controls her anger here and then hugs Tae and says, this is a very hard time for you, but you are not alone. I am always with you. Hearing this, Tae becomes happy with her and says, I love you to her. But Ji-sun is still very angry. On the other side, Min comes to live in Da-kyung's neighborhood, and then, on some pretext, she comes to Da-kyung's house to collect evidence and tries to make friends with her. The next day, Ji-sun meets her lawyer and tells him, prepare the divorce papers. The lawyer says, okay, I will get the papers ready, but until the papers are ready, Tae should not know about this because we have to find evidence against him. Ji-sun says, Tae will not find out about all this. Then at night, Tae comes close to Ji-sun and starts kissing her. Just then, Ji-sun gets a call from Min. So she says to Tae, a patient's call has come. Saying this, she takes her phone and goes out. After coming out, she talks to Min, and Min says, I have moved to the house next to Da-kyung. Ji-sun says, okay, and cuts the call. After this, Ji-sun goes out and checks the trunk of Tae's car and starts looking for the phone in it, but she does not find the phone. Just then, Jae arrives there with an umbrella. Jae finds out here Ji-sun is looking for proof against Tae. The next day, the chairman brings his friend and his wife to the hospital. Ji-sun checks the chairman's friend's wife. Then after they leave, Ji-sun says to the chairman, I have to talk to you about something important. Saying this, she takes the chairman outside. Then Myung sees both of them talking and calls and tells Tae, Ji-sun is talking to the chairman right now. So Tae immediately comes to the hospital. Over here, Ji-sun tells the chairman, Da-kyung is having an affair with someone. She is about to tell more when she sees Tae there, so she does not tell anything further. Here, Ji-sun also understands Myung was the one who called and summoned Tae. Tae then comes to the chairman and says hello to him. After this, the chairman leaves from there. In the next scene, the chairman and his wife ask Da-kyung, with whom is your affair going on? They also get quite angry with her. But still, Da-kyung does not tell them about Tae. She says, this is my personal life and you have no right to interfere in my personal life. Hearing this, the chairman leaves from there in anger. Then Da-kyung's mom is also leaving, but she stops while going and says to Da-kyung, your weight is increasing, so you start dieting. Da-kyung becomes worried, hearing her mom's words. Then Ji-sun is going home with Lee. Then on the way, she sees Tae's assistant and her daughter, so she offers them a lift. Then when they reach near the house, Ji-sun says to the assistant, do you know why I came to the office that night? The assistant says, what are you talking about? I don't understand anything. Hearing this, Ji-sun does not tell her anything and leaves from there. Then at night, when Min returns, she sees an argument is going on between Da-kyung and Tae about something. Seeing this, she hides and tries to listen to their conversation, but she does not understand anything properly. Then Tae comes out of the house in anger and takes his anger out on the car. Min is watching all this while hiding. Then Tae sits in his car and leaves. So Min calls and tells Ji-sun, Tae has left the house in a rage. Then Tae comes home and is somewhat worried, so Ji-sun asks him, why are you so worried? Tae says, it is nothing. But Ji-sun knows everything here about why he is worried. The next day, Ji-sun meets Myung and says, I know you were the one who called Tae to the hospital yesterday. Myung says, I have not done that. Ji-sun says, I know you were the one who called and summoned Tae and you tell my things to Tae. Therefore, I will not tell you anything of mine after today. Saying this, Ji-sun leaves from there. Then at night, Tae calls Da-kyung repeatedly, but she does not pick up his call, so he is going to meet her. Then Ji-sun sees him and asks, where are you going? Tae says, some important work has come up, so I have to go. Ji-sun says, okay. Then after Taye leaves, Ji-sun messages Min and tells her, collect evidence. Min is at her work at that time. When she sees this message, she takes a leave and leaves. Then her boyfriend, Park, sees her leaving from there. Then Min comes outside Dokyoung's house and turns on her car's camera so that when Taye comes out of Dokyoung's house, he gets recorded in it. When she is going towards Dokyoung's house, Park follows her and arrives there. He says to Min, your car is very good and you also live in such a good place. That doctor has given all this to you, hasn't she? Then Park asks Min, what is going on between you and that doctor? Min says, nothing is going on between us. She is a doctor, she just treated me. Then she tells Park, mind your own business, and leaves from there. Though Park also goes after her. Min is going towards her house, so Park quickly goes and starts ringing the bell of Dokyoung's house. Min tries to stop him, but he catches her and rings the bell again. Just then, Taye comes out, and seeing him, Park understands she is spying on him. Over there, Ji-sun is calling Min, but her phone is not connecting, so she becomes very worried. Then she calls Taye and asks, by what time will you come home? Taye says, work is a bit much, so I don't know when I will be able to come home. Ji-sun says, okay. Then Taye tells her, you should rest. Ji-sun says, okay. And along with that, she also says, I love you to him. So Taye also says, I love you to her. Hearing this, Dokyoung feels bad, so she shuts the door loudly and goes outside. Hearing the sound of the door, Ji-sun also finds out Taye is with Dokyoung at this time. So knowing this, she feels bad. Then she goes out for a run. She is running when Jae is returning home from there, so he stops after seeing Ji-sun. Then he goes to Ji-sun and asks, why are you running so late at night? Ji-sun says, I was getting bored at home, so I thought I would run. Jae says, I know you are worried because of Taye. Here, Ji tells her everything. I know that Tae's affair is going on with Dokyoung, and you know this. You have seen them together with your own eyes. Ji-sun is surprised hearing all this. Then Jae asks her, what is the further plan? And Ji-sun says, I want to take a divorce from Tae. Ji says, if you need any help from me in all this, then definitely tell me. I am with you in all this. Ji-sun says, okay, and leaves from there. The next day, Park comes to meet Ji-sun at the hospital and says, I know that you have put Min to spy on your husband. He asks for $30,000 from Ji-sun and says, if you do not give me this money, then I will tell everyone that you have put Min to spy on your husband. Ji-sun becomes worried, hearing this, and says, I do not have that much money right now. I will give you the money after 1 week. Park says, okay, and leaves from there. After he leaves, Ji-sun is very worried and thinks about what she will do next. Just then, a nurse comes to her with flowers and says, someone has sent these for you. After the nurse leaves, Ji-sun reads the note attached to those flowers, and she finds out Ji has sent these for me. Seeing this, she is surprised. Just then, she gets a call from Jae, and he tries to impress her with his talk. But his talk has no effect on Ji-sun. At night, Ji-sun, Tae, and Lee go together to a restaurant to eat food. Then they meet Dokyoung and her mom there. Their reservation had not been made beforehand, therefore they do not get a table there, and were leaving. They tell all this to Ji-sun, Tae, and Lee, so Ji-sun says to them, we have a reservation here, so you people eat food with us. Hearing this, Dokyoung's mom becomes happy and says yes to eating food with them. But Tae and Dokyoung become very nervous because of all this. Then the chairman arrives there, so everyone goes inside the restaurant together. Then everyone is eating food when Ji-sun asks Dokyoung, who is your boyfriend? Hearing this, everyone is shocked. Then the chairman says, Dokyoung has many friends, but she does not have any boyfriend. On this, Ji-sun says, I am sorry someone told me incorrectly. Then Lee stands up and says, I have to complete my homework, so I have to go home. Hearing this, Tae takes him along. Then after Tae leaves, Dokyoung also leaves from there. Over there, Tae is taking Lee and going home, and he is very worried thinking about all this on the way. Then when Ji-sun comes out after eating food, she gets a call from Dokyoung. Ji-sun picks it up and Dokyoung says to her, how can you do this? How can you leak your patient's information? Ji-sun says, you have a 2-month-old baby, and I felt that you would not be able to tell this to your parents. That is why I thought I would help you by telling them the truth. Dokyoung cuts the call hearing this. Then she is in much tension, so she starts to smoke a cigarette. But thinking about her baby, she does not smoke the cigarette. Dokyoung is very upset when Min comes to meet her. Here, Min says to her, I was pregnant, but I was sure that my parents would not accept my baby. That is why I got an abortion. Hearing her emotional talk, Dokyoung also starts telling her everything about herself. She also tells her about Tae. Tae is not happy with his wife because his wife is not beautiful anymore. Min records all this. Over there, Tae asks Ji-sun, how do you know that Dokyoung has a boyfriend? Ji-sun says, Dokyoung had come to me for a checkup, and she herself told me all this. And she is also pregnant. She has hidden this fact from her parents. Tae says, okay, and gets up and leaves from there. After he leaves, Min sends that recording to Ji-sun. When Ji-sun listens to it, she finds out what Tae thinks about her. The next day, Ji-sun gets ready nicely, but Tae still does not pay much attention to her. Seeing this, Ji-sun feels bad. Then Ji-sun gets a message from Jae, and he calls her to meet, so Ji-sun goes to meet him. Here, Jae says to her, "I love you, and a man like Tae does not deserve you." Then he says to Ji-sun, "You should take revenge on Tae." For this, he tells her, "Sleep with me." Ji-sun is surprised hearing this. Then Jae leaves the hotel room key there and departs. When Ji-sun thinks about this, she feels, just as Tae cheated on me, I should also cheat on Tae in the same way. Thinking this, she finds Jae's point correct. She goes to Jae in the room and forms a physical relation with him. Over here, Tae is at home when Dok-young comes to meet him. She rings the doorbell. Tae opens the door and is shocked to see Dok-young. He takes her outside the house. Dok-young tells him, "Divorce Ji-sun and marry me." Tae starts putting off her words. So, seeing this, Dok-young understands, I have no future with Tae. Therefore, she breaks up with Tae. Tae tries very hard to make her understand, but she does not listen to anything of his and leaves from there. Then at 4 o'clock at night, when Ji-sun is leaving the hotel room, Jae says to her, "Why are you leaving now? Let's spend a little more time together." Ji-sun says, "You are forgetting I have a family and I have to go back to them." Then she also says to Ji, "End this matter right here. If you caused any trouble, then I will tell Rim everything." Jae says, "If you tell Rim everything, then I will also tell Tae everything." Ji-sun says, "You tell Tae everything, I don't care about it, because I am going to take a divorce from him anyway. But if I told Rim everything, then think what can happen to you." Hearing this, Ji becomes scared and is unable to say anything. Then Ji-sun leaves from there. Here we are shown a flashback. When Tae and Dok-young were kissing, it was recorded in Lee's camera, and that camera had fallen down from Lee. Then that camera was found by a man. This man was Ji-sun's patient. He had come to the hospital to meet Ji-sun and had given that recording to Ji-sun. Then the flashback ends, and Ji-sun is happy because now she has evidence against Tae that he is cheating on her. Then when Ji-sun comes home, Rim sees her coming from her window, so she suspects Ji-sun was with Jae. The next morning when Tae wakes up, he does not find Ji-sun near him on the bed, so he becomes worried. Then he goes out and sees that Ji-sun is sleeping on the sofa. Seeing this, Tae has some doubt, so he checks her phone, but he does not get any information from the phone. Then at breakfast time, he asks Ji-sun about last night. So Ji-sun says, "I had gone to drink with my friends and we drank a lot, so we stayed in the hotel at night." Hearing this, Tae suspects her even more. Then when Ji-sun goes to the hospital, Tae calls that hotel to find out about this. But he does not get any information from there either. Over here, Ji-sun reaches the hospital, and a new psychiatrist has arrived there whose name is Kim. Ji-sun says, "Welcome" to him. Then Ji-sun is with Myung, and Myung says to her about Kim. He is very handsome. Ji-sun forbids her from talking about this and then leaves from there. After she leaves, Myung gets a call from Tae. He asks Myung, "Is Ji-sun in the hospital?" Myung says, "Yes, she is in the hospital." Then he asks, "Have you noticed any strange thing in Ji-sun in the last few days?" Myung says, "No, I have not noticed any such thing. But someone had sent flowers for her." Hearing this, Tae becomes worried about who would have sent flowers to Ji-sun. Then Ji-sun goes to meet Jae, and Jae gives her all the information about Tae's company. He tells Ji-sun, Tae's company is not making any income currently and it is going to go bankrupt very soon. Then Ji-sun asks him, who is the one who is going to invest in Tae's company? Jae says, "I will tell you that only on one condition when you continue the affair with me." On this, Ji-sun refuses him and leaves from there. Then when Ji-sun is leaving from there, Rim arrives there and she sees her leaving. So, seeing this, her suspicion becomes even firmer. My husband's affair is going on with Ji-sun. Then Rim goes to Jae's office. Jae feels that Ji-sun has come, so he is happy, but when he turns back, Rim is there. Seeing this, he is surprised. Rim does not say clearly to Jae here, "Your affair is going on with Ji-sun." She says here, "I suspect that your affair is going on with someone." Jae says, "There is nothing like that." Hearing this, Rim becomes angry and leaves in a huff. Then at night, when Ji-sun has gone to take a shower, Tae checks her phone, but there is a password on Ji-sun's phone, so he finds nothing. Then when he is about to keep the phone falls down. So Tae quickly picks up the phone, keeps it in its place, and sits in his place. Then when Ji-sun comes out, Tae says to her, "I was looking at your phone, I felt that you have a new phone." Ji-sun says, "Okay." After this, Tae goes out and messages Dok-young repeatedly not to break up with him. Dok-young sees his message but does not give any reply. The next day, Ji-sun goes to the hospital. Then she meets Dr. Kim there. He says to Ji-sun, "Looking at you, it seems you are worried." Ji-sun says, "There is nothing like that." Kim says, "I am a doctor, and I can say by looking at you that you definitely have some stress." Ji-sun says, "There is nothing like that." and goes inside the hospital. Then Kim comes inside after her and says, I have been called to this hospital so that I can look at the mental health of the staff members here. If they have any mental health issue, then I should solve it. And looking at you, it seems you definitely have some stress. Therefore, if you want, you can share it with me. Ji-soon says, there is nothing like that. If there is something, I will definitely tell you. After this, Ji-sun goes to the room. Then she gets a message from Rim. She calls her to meet. Ji-sun goes to meet her, and Rim says to her, oh, I know what is going on between you and Jae. Ji-soon says, it is not as you are thinking. Rim says, then what is the truth? Ji-soon says, I will tell you that later. Hearing this, Rim leaves from there. Then Jae messages Ji-soon and calls her to meet in the hotel room and also writes, if you do not come to meet me, then I will tell Taye everything. Ji-sun sees that message and becomes worried. Then at night, Jae waits for Ji-soon in the hotel room, but Ji-sun does not go to meet him, so Jae becomes angry because of this. Over here, Ji-sun goes to meet her lawyer and asks him, how much time will it take for the divorce papers to be ready? The lawyer says, it will take a few days. Hearing this, Ji-sun becomes worried and tells him, get the papers ready quickly. After this, Ji-soon goes home and sees that Jae has come there. He has come to tell Taye the truth. Ji-soon is surprised to see him there. Then Taye gets a call from someone, so he goes to listen to the call. After he leaves, Ji-sun asks Jae, what are you doing here? She starts to push him out, but Jae starts blackmailing her further. He says, I want money from you. Ji-sun says, okay, I will give you the money, but you do not tell this to Taye. Jae says, okay. Then Taye arrives there, so Ji-soon says to them, you two talk, I am leaving. Saying this, she leaves from there. After she leaves, Taye asks Jae, do you want a drink? And Jae says, yes. Then both start drinking together. Then Ji-sun is very worried. She is not understanding what she should do. Just then, Taye arrives there. He asks her, these days you come home late every day. Ji-sun says, I have more work these days, that is why I come late. Then Taye tells her, go to sleep, so Ji-sun says, I have work, you go and sleep. Hearing this, Taye goes to sleep. The next day, Ji-sun parks her car in a place, and then she meets Park there. Park tells her, give the money quickly. And along with that, he also says, if you do not give the money quickly, then I will tell your husband everything. Then at night, Lee is waiting for his mom, but Ji-sun does not go to pick him up, and also her phone is not connecting, so Lee calls Taye and tells him everything. So Taye immediately goes to pick him up. Then both of them go to a restaurant to eat something. Then Da-kyung also arrives there. Taye starts looking at her. Then when Da-kyung's gaze falls on Taye, she immediately leaves from there. Taye then follows her on the pretext of the washroom. He comes out and looks for Da-kyung, but he does not find Da-kyung anywhere. He also calls her, but Da-kyung does not receive his call. After this, those people come home. After coming home, Taye calls Ji-sun, but her call does not connect. Over there, Ji-sun is very worried, so she goes to a place to drink. She drinks a lot there. After this, when she is going back, her attention is elsewhere, and she is about to have an accident with a car. Then an uncle comes and saves her. Over here, Taye is very worried. Where could Ji-sun be? Then Ji-sun comes home and, after cleaning the kitchen, falls asleep right there. Then Taye comes out and, seeing this, thinks, why is Ji-sun behaving like this? The next day, Min meets Ji-sun and says, ever since Park found out about you, he has been blackmailing me along with you. Now he has started living with me and he tortures me every day again. Min says to Ji-sun, please do something, I cannot bear his torture. Ji-sun says, do not worry, I will do something. Then after Min leaves, Ji-sun sits there for a long time and thinks about something. Then she takes Taye and goes to the chairman's house for dinner. During dinner, Ji-sun tells the chairman and his wife, Taye and Da-kyung are having an affair. Hearing her words, everyone is shocked. Da-kyung becomes very angry hearing her words here. She even hits Ji-sun on the head with something, but Ji-sun does not get angry here and handles everything calmly. Then she says to everyone, goodbye, and goes outside. After she leaves, the chairman gets angry with Taye. Then Taye also comes after Ji-sun and starts fighting with Ji-sun. Why have you done all this? On this, Ji-sun says to him, this is just the beginning. Taye says, after all, what do you want? Ji-sun says, I want a divorce from you. Here she also tells him, I have formed a physical relation with Ji. Ji-sun says, you cheated on me by forming a relation with another woman, so I also formed a relation with your friend Jae to take revenge on you. Hearing all this, Taye is shocked. He tells her, we should be together again, but Ji-sun says, no, I will not come back to you. Then Ji also arrives there to meet Ji-sun and sees both of them together. There is a lot of argument between Taye and Ji-sun here. Ji-sun says, I will take a divorce from you and I will also keep Lee with me. Taye says, if you want to take a divorce, take it, but I will not give Lee to you. Ji-sun says, let's see with whom Lee stays. Saying this, she leaves from there. Jae also hears all this and finds out Ji-sun herself has told Taye everything. Then Jae goes home, so Rim fights with him. Why have you betrayed me? Over here, Taye is sitting in a place when Da-kyung comes to meet him. Taye says to her, Ji-sun has done all this deliberately in front of the chairman because she knows the chairman is going to invest in my company. That is why she did all this in front of the chairman. Now the chairman will never invest in my company. Dokyung says, if you want, you can get all this for this. You leave Ji-sun and come to me forever. Hearing this, Taye goes to her and hugs her. Here, all the problems between the two are solved. Over there, Ji-sun is going home when she meets Rim on the way. Rim starts getting angry with her. Why did you have an affair with my husband? Hearing this, Ji-sun tells her everything about why she did all that. Then Ji-sun comes home and Lee asks her about Taye. So Ji-sun says, now he will never come here. Hearing this, Lee becomes worried. The next morning when Taye wakes up, he is with Dokyung. Dokyung says to him, now we will never break up with each other. Taye says, yes, now we will always stay together. Then, after a little while, a delivery boy comes to their house by whose hand Ji-sun has sent a notice for Taye. Return the loans you have taken in our names quickly. If you do not do that, then we will pay those loans by selling your company. Seeing this, Taye becomes angry. So he calls Ji-sun. Ji-sun says, this is just the beginning, see what happens further. Saying this, she cuts the call. Dokyung also hears their conversation. Then Taye is very angry, so he tears that notice and throws it in the dustbin. Then Dokyung says to Taye, why is Ji-sun doing all this? Taye says, she is taking revenge on me. Over there, Park does not find Min, so he comes to a club looking for her. But Min is not found there either. Then Park calls Ji-sun and tells her, give the money quickly, and also says, if you do not give the money quickly, then I will tell everyone about you, and also tell that you have misused your position. Ji-sun says, do what you have to do, I will not give you any money. Hearing this, Park becomes very angry. Then Ji-sun comes to the hospital, and everyone there is looking at her. Seeing this, Ji-sun is surprised. Then she goes to her room, and Myung comes to meet her. Ji-sun asks her, why are they all looking at me like this? Myung says, because they have found out everything about what is happening between you and Taye. Hearing this, Ji-sun becomes worried and then calls the lawyer and tells him, submit the divorce papers in court quickly. The lawyer says, okay, but Taye will try to take Lee, so we have to pay more attention to this matter. Ji-sun says, okay. Then Taye and Dokyung are going somewhere when Park stops them from behind and asks them about Min. Dokyung says, why are you asking us about Min? How would we know where she is? Then Park tells them everything about Ji-sun and Min, how Min was spying on them at Ji-sun's behest. Knowing this, both of them are surprised. Over there, Rim is leaving the house. Jae tries to stop her. On this, Rim says, I will stay on one condition, that after today, you will not meet any other woman. Jae says, okay, I will not meet. Saying this, he leaves from there. Here, Rim accepts his word, but she still does not have full faith in Jae. In the next scene, Tae and Park come to the hospital and file a complaint against Ji-sun with the hospital director. Ji-sun has misused her position, and she has misused one of her patients. Not only this, here Tae says, Ji-sun's parents died in an accident. Hearing about her parents, Ji-sun becomes very angry. In fact, Ji-sun's dad was also cheating on Ji-sun's mom. When Ji-sun's mom found out this, she was very angry with Ji-sun's dad. After this, when both were going, they had an accident and they died. Hearing all this, Ji-sun becomes very angry. She says a lot to Tae and then runs towards the outside of the hospital. So Tae also runs after her. Dr. Kim is also standing there and he has also heard all the talk. Then Ji-sun is going in a car. Tae also goes after her. He stops her. What are you doing? Ji-sun is very angry here, so she hits Tae's car and leaves. Tae is shocked seeing this because he did not expect this from Ji-sun. Then Ji-sun goes to school and takes Lee from there and leaves. After that, Tae goes to school. He asks about Lee in the school. Then he finds out Ji-sun has taken him and left. Over here, Ji-sun is taking Lee somewhere. Lee asks her, where are we going? So Ji-sun does not give him any answer. Over there, Tae searches for the location of Lee's phone through his phone and then starts following him. Over here, Ji-sun finds out Lee's phone is connected to Tae, so she takes Lee's phone and is about to throw it out. Lee tries to stop her, but Ji-sun throws his phone out. Seeing his mom's strange behavior, Lee is shocked. Then he calls Tae from Ji-sun's phone. Ji-sun tries to stop him. In between, they're narrowly avoided an accident. Tae is also listening to all this on his phone. Lee is very shocked by all this. Then Ji-sun takes the phone from Lee and cuts the call. Tae calls again, but the call does not connect, so Tae calls the police and files a complaint about Lee being missing. Over here, Ji-sun takes Lee with her to a place where she tells Lee everything about Tae. And along with that, she also tells, I'm going to take a divorce from Tae. Lee is surprised hearing all this. Then Ji-sun asks him, with whom will you stay? So Lee says, I will stay with Dad. Ji-sun tries very hard to make him understand, but Lee still says the same thing. I will stay with Dad. In fact, Ji-sun was always busy with work. For this reason, Lee is more attached to Taye. Over there, the police find Lee's phone and give it to Taye and ask, is this Lee's phone? Taye says, yes, this is Lee's phone. Then the policeman says to Taye, no accident has happened here, so you wait a little. It is possible that your son will return home soon. Saying this, the police leave from there. Then Taye gets a message from Ji-sun. Come home, I have to talk to you about something. Seeing this message, Taye immediately goes home and asks Ji-sun about Lee. Ji-sun does not say anything, so he looks for Lee in the house. He does not find Lee, so he again asks Ji-sun about Lee. Then Ji-sun says, I have killed him. Hearing this, Taye becomes very angry, so he hits Ji-sun a lot. Just then, Lee arrives there. Seeing his mom in this condition, Lee says sorry to his mom and decides to stay with his mom. Then Ji-sun and Tae's divorce happens, and Lee's custody is also given to Ji-sun. Ji-sun is happy because of this, but Tae is not happy. Then the chairman meets Ji-sun and says sorry to her on behalf of his daughter. Because of my daughter, your home was destroyed. Then Da-kyung goes to the market to get some things. When she's making the payment, then her cards do not work. Here she finds out, my dad has closed my cards. Then she comes home and fights with the chairman about this. The chairman says to her, break up with Tae and come back to us. Only then will you get all this, but if you stayed with Tae, then you will have to leave this house. Da-kyung tries very hard to make the chairman understand here, but the chairman does not listen to anything of hers, so Da-kyung leaves her house for Tae. Then Ji-sun meets Min and says, thanks to her for helping her. Min says, it is no matter. Ji-sun then says to Min, you stay away from Park, he is not a good boy. On this, Min says, I will try. After this, Ji-sun meets Dr. Kim and says, now you must have found out why I was worried that day. Kim says, yes, I found out, and you have handled the entire situation with a lot of courage. Then Ji-sun is in the hospital when Myung comes to meet her and says, sorry to her. I used to tell all your things to Tae. On this, Ji-sun forgives her. Then Ji-sun goes to get some things. Then there she sees Tae and Da-kyung leaving the city together, so she feels bad seeing this. Then we are shown a scene 2 years later where Kim comes to Ji-sun for a checkup because he has a cold. Ji-sun checks him. Here we find out now both have become very good friends. Then Ji-sun is leaving when Myung says to her, will you come to Tae's party? In fact, Tae has returned after 2 years and now he has become a successful producer. He has also married Da-kyung and they have a daughter. Myung asks Ji-sun about going to the party, so Ji-sun says, nothing is confirmed for me. Saying this, she leaves. Over there, Lee has a school holiday. He comes out and then sees, Tae has come to meet me. Lee is surprised to see him here. Then Tae takes Lee to a restaurant where he brings Lee over to his side with his talk. He also gives him a gift and also invites him to a party at his house, so Lee says, I will definitely come. In fact, Tae has bought a new house, and he invites everyone to the party at his new house. Then when Ji-sun is going to pick up Lee from school, then on the way, Tae's car comes and stops in front of her car. In it, Lee is also with Tae. Seeing this, Ji-sun is surprised. Then Lee leaves from there. After he leaves, Ji-sun says to Tae, have you come here to take revenge on me? Tae says, no. Then Ji-sun tells him, stay away from Lee. Over there, an invitation card for the party has come to Jae and Rim. Rim says, I will not go to the party. She asks Jae, will you go to the party? On this, Jae says, if you do not go, then I will not go either. Over here, Lee also asks Ji-sun, will we go to the party? Ji-sun says, no, we will not go. After this, Lee goes to his room to sleep. After going there, he looks at the gift given by his dad and thinks about something. The next day, Ji-sun goes to the hospital. Then she sees Jae and Rim there, who had come to the hospital for a checkup. When they see Ji-sun, they leave from there without talking to her. On the other side, Da-kyung is getting ready for the party. Then her mom is also with her. Here we find out Da-kyung's parents have forgiven her, and Da-kyung and Tae have gotten all this only with the chairman's support. Then, when Ji-sun comes home after leaving the hospital, she calls Lee and says, when your class is over, call me. I will pick you up. On this, Lee says, you do not need to come. I will come myself. Hearing this, Ji-sun feels bad. Then she is sitting in her car when snowfall starts. Then she goes to a place to drink. Ja is also there, but she ignores him and starts looking the other way. Over here, the party starts at Tae's house. Over there, Ji-sun is drinking when Kim is passing from there. Kim sees Ji-sun, so he comes and sits near her. So Ji-sun shares her feelings with him. She says, I am afraid lest it happens that Tae snatches Lee from me and leaves me alone. Over there, Lee also goes to Tae's party. He is very happy meeting Tae. Then Tae sends a picture to Ji-sun, in which Lee and Tae are together. Seeing this, Ji-sun understands Lee has gone to the party secretly from me. Seeing this, she feels bad. So she leaves from there to pick up Lee, then Kim also comes with her. Over there, Tae takes Lee into a room and says, if you stay with me, then this room will be yours. And the way you want this room will be decorated in that same way. When Lee sees that room, he likes that room. Just then, Dokyoung arrives there and calls Tae out to talk. When Tae goes out, Dokyoung says to him, "You are going to give this room to Lee. Why did you not tell me this before?" Becoming upset because of this, Dokyoung leaves from there. Then Ji-sun and Kim arrive at the party to pick up Lee. So seeing Ji-sun, everyone is surprised. Tae and Dokyoung tell her, "Leave the party." So Ji-sun says, "I will not leave from here without taking Lee." By then, Lee also comes out of the room, and seeing all this, he is upset, so he goes out from there. Over here, Tae and Dokyoung are repeatedly telling Ji-sun, "Go back." Then Ji-sun says to them, "I have the invitation card for the party, so you cannot turn me out of the party like this." She also takes the invitation card for the party out of her bag and shows it to them. Seeing the card, Dokyoung asks Tae, "Who sent the card to her?" Tae says, "I sent it." Hearing this, Dokyoung becomes angry. Then Ji-sun says to them, "I have no interest in your party. I will find Lee and leave from here." Saying this, she gives the card to Dokyoung and goes to look for Lee. Dokyoung is angry at all this, so she goes to the bathroom and starts crying. Just then, Tae arrives there and says sorry to her. Then Ji-sun is looking for Lee. Then she sees Tae and Dokyoung's wedding photo in a room, so she feels very bad. Just then, Tae also arrives there. He says to Ji-sun, "You should not be here. You are a loser." Ji-sun leaves from there. After this, she looks for Lee in every room, but she does not find Lee anywhere. Then Tae and Dokyoung introduce their daughter Jenny to everyone. After this, Tae says thank you to Dokyoung. "I have gotten all this because of you." After this, he also kisses Dokyoung in front of everyone. Then Ji-sun also arrives there, and she feels bad seeing this. Then Ji-sun comes out looking for Lee. She does not find Lee, so she becomes worried. Then she is about to come to Kim when Lee arrives there. He sees Kim and says to Ji-sun, "You have come here with him?" Ji-sun says yes, and then tells Lee, "Sit in the car." Lee sits in the car, so Kim drops them at their house. Then after coming home, Ji-sun gets very angry with Lee for why he went there without telling her. On this, Lee says, "Because I wanted to go there, and I like being with Dad more than you." Saying this, he goes to his room. Hearing his words, Ji-sun feels very bad, so she starts crying. Then Lee takes the gift given by Tae and goes to Tae's house. Then there he sees Tae, Dokyoung, and their daughter Jenny together. So he feels bad. So he leaves the gift right there and returns. Then after the party ends, Tae and Dokyoung start kissing each other. Over there, Ji-sun is very sad. So she starts throwing all those things in the dustbin, seeing which she remembers Tae. She even throws away her family photo, and after that she cries a lot. The next day, Ji-sun goes to the hospital. Then she meets Myung there, who starts talking about last night, but Ji-sun says, "I do not want to talk about last night," and leaves from there. Then Myung gets a call from Tae, so Myung talks to him. From their conversation, we find out Myung is still in league with Tae, and she tells Ji-sun's things to Tae. Then Myung sends many photos of Ji-sun to Tae. Looking at them, Tae smiles. Then at night, when Ji-sun goes home, she feels Lee has left me and gone, so she is very worried. Then she checks Lee in his room, and he is in his room. Seeing this, Ji-sun is relaxed. Then both of them are eating food when someone throws a stone at their window, which breaks the window. Because of this, both Ji-sun and Lee get scared. Then Ji-sun calls and tells this matter to the police. So the police come to check their house. Just then, Jae and Rim return home, and seeing the police car in front of their house, they think, "Why have the police come to their house?" Then the police look at the whole situation and say to Ji-sun, "Do not worry. We will find out who did this." After this, the police leave from there. Then Lee calls and tells this to Tae, so Tae comes to their house and fixes their window. But during all this, Ji-sun does not talk to him. Then Tae says to Lee, "If there is ever any problem, call me. I will come." Lee says, "Okay." After this, Tae goes home, so Dokyoung asks him, "What is the matter? Today you have come home late." On this, Tae says, "Some important work had come up for this reason. It has become late." Dokyoung says, "Okay." The next day, Lee is at school when Tae messages him and invites him to dinner at home, so Lee says, "Okay, I will come." Then Lee goes to the hospital to meet Ji-sun and says to her, "Dad has invited me to dinner tomorrow, so I will go there." Ji-sun tells him, "You cannot go." Hearing this, Lee becomes angry, so he gets angry with his mom and leaves from there. The next day, Lee goes to Tae's house for dinner with him. During the dinner, Tae tells Lee, "Leave Ji-sun and stay with us." Hearing Tae's words, Lee starts thinking about what he should do. Over here, Ji-sun is at home when someone is going towards her house. Rim sees him going, so she suspects him. So she calls the police. Over there, that man goes to Ji-sun's house and hits her a lot. Just then, he finds out about the police coming, so he runs away from there. At the same time, Kim's call is coming on Ji-sun's phone. Ji-sun picks up the call and tells Kim everything. Then the police are asking Rim about that attacker when Kim arrives there. And then, after going to Ji-sun, asks her, "Are you okay?" Ji-sun says, "I am fine." Then Ji-sun calls Lee and tells him everything and tells him, "Come home quickly." Lee says, "Okay, I am coming." Then Rim is calling Jae, but Jae's call does not connect. Over there, Jay has gone to a place to drink. There he meets a girl. Jay likes that girl, so he starts talking to her. Then, after the police leave, Kim applies a bandage to Ji-sun. Just then, Taye and Lee also arrive there. Seeing Kim there, Taye does not feel good. Lee goes to his mom and asks her, "Are you okay?" Ji-sun says, "Yes, I am fine." Then after everyone leaves, Ji-sun checks the CCTV footage installed outside her house, and then she finds out the one who attacked me is none other than Min's boyfriend, Park. Ji-sun is surprised seeing this. The next day she meets Min and asks her about Park. So Min says, "I have broken up with him. But as far as I know, currently, he is working for Taye." Hearing this, Ji-sun becomes angry. Then she goes to Tae's office to meet him. Then Tae's assistant sees her. He calls and tells Dak-young, Ji-sun is here to meet Tae. Dak-young feels insecure hearing this. Over there, Ji-sun warns Tae, "Do not do that again." Then Ji-sun is in the hospital when Dak-young comes to meet her. She gets angry with Ji-sun. "Why did you go to my husband's office to meet him?" On this, Ji-sun says to her, "Tae is getting spying done on me, so you keep him in control." Hearing this, Dak-young becomes angry. She thinks, is it so that Tae still loves Ji-sun and wants to get her back? Over there, Jay is with a girl when Rim calls him, so he does not pick up her call. Over here, Dak-young comes home and is still very angry because of Ji-sun's words. But she still does not have full faith in Ji-sun's words. The next day, Kim and Ji-sun are eating food in a restaurant when Dak-young and Tae also arrive there. Tae does not like seeing Kim with Ji-sun at all. Dak-young also notices this, so now she is convinced Tae has still not forgotten his first wife. Then when Kim and Ji-sun are leaving, Tae stops Kim and tells him, "Stay away from Ji-sun." On this, Kim says to him, "Now you are not her husband, so you have no right to say this." Saying this, he leaves from there with Ji-sun. Tae becomes very angry seeing all this. Then Kim drops Ji-sun home. Then Lee sees them together, so he feels bad seeing this. Then Ji-sun is in her room when she gets a call from Tae. Tae says to her, "How can you go with someone leaving Lee alone at home? You do not take care of Lee at all." On this, Ji-sun says to him, "What is it to you? You leave us alone?" Saying this, she cuts the call. Dak-young also hears Tae talking to Ji-sun, so she does not feel good, and she leaves from there. Over there, Ji-sun is thinking about the words of Kim, who had said to her, "You should get married a second time now." Over here, Tae is going somewhere when Dak-young asks him, "Where are you going?" So Tae says, "I am going to drink with a friend of mine." Then he goes to drink with Jay, where Jay also introduces him to the girl with whom he is in a relationship now. The next day, Tae comes to the hospital and meets the hospital director and says to him, "I will give a very big donation to your hospital, but in exchange for that, you will have to remove Ji-sun from her post." Hearing this, the director says, "I do not need the donation, and I will not remove a capable doctor like Ji-sun." Hearing this, Tae becomes angry. Then he meets Ji-sun and says to her, "One day you will realize that you made a mistake by leaving me." On this, Ji-sun says, "That day will never come." Then Tae comes out and then he gets a call from Park. He asks for money. Tae says, "I have given you the money for your work." Park says, "I need more money." Here, Park starts blackmailing Tae. "If you do not give me the money, it will not be good for you." Saying this, he cuts the call. At that time, Park is near Min's house. When Min comes out to throw some things, he watches her while hiding and then leaves from there. In fact, Min was living here while hiding from Park, but Park found her. Over there, Lee is at school when a friend of his shows them a pen and says, "My dad gave me this pen as a gift." Lee does not like this. Then Lee is in a painting class when ink falls on his shirt. He asks the teacher and goes out to clean it. Then he goes to the class and takes his jacket. Just then, he sees that pen, so he picks up that pen as well. After this, he goes out and throws that pen away. His friend sees him doing all this. She asks him, "What has happened to you? Why are you doing such strange things?" Lee says, "Nothing has happened to me." Saying this, he leaves from there. Then Jay is in the office when that girl calls him, but Ja does not pick up her call and messages. "I will meet you later." Over here, Lee has a school holiday. Then Park follows him and also takes his photos. After this, he sends those photos to Tae. Tae gets scared seeing this. He calls Lee, but his phone does not connect. So he goes looking for Lee. Over there, Ji-sun is in the hospital when Park sends those photos to her as well. Seeing which, Ji-sun becomes worried and immediately goes to look for Lee. She calls Lee, but Lee's phone does not connect. Then Ji-sun and Tae go to his academy and look for him everywhere, but they do not find Lee anywhere. Then Ji-sun also files a complaint with the police, so the police also start looking for him. Then Tae meets Ji-sun, and Ji-sun says to him, "All this has happened because of you. If anything happened to Lee, then I will not leave you." Saying this, she again leaves to look for Lee. After this, she also calls Kim and tells him everything. Then Ji-sun gets a call from the police. "We have found Lee." Hearing this, Ji-sun immediately goes there and she is happy seeing Lee fine. Then she says to Lee, I looked for you in the academy. Where were you?" Lee says, "I did not go to the academy today." Then Ji-sun says thank you to the police for finding Lee. Then after the police leave, Kim arrives there. He is talking to Ji-sun and Lee when Taye arrives there, and seeing them together, he feels bad. Then Ji-sun and Kim take Lee and go home. After going there, Kim asks her, "Who wrote that letter to you?" Ji-sun says, "Park wrote that letter to me. These people are talking about this matter." Just then Taye arrives there to meet Lee. So Ji-sun goes out to talk to him. She goes out and fights with Taye and says, "If anything happened to Lee, then you alone will be responsible for it. Only you." On the other side, Dak-kyung goes to Tae's office, and there she finds a mobile phone in which there are photos of Ji-sun. Seeing this, Dak-kyung feels very bad. Then Ji-sun calls Min and asks her, "Do you know where Park lives?" Min says, "I don't know," but she tells Ji-sun, "Stay safe from Park." Saying this, she cuts the call. Then Park comes to her, and here we find out Park has again started living with Min and has again started torturing her. Park asks her, "Whose call was it?" So Min says, "It was a call from a school friend of mine." Park says, "Okay." Then Tae meets Park and starts hitting him. Then Park hits him back and says, "Today I have not done anything, but in the future, I can do such a thing. And I will also tell everyone that you told me to attack your ex-wife. Therefore, you send me the money quickly." Hearing these words of Park, Tae gets scared, so he sends him the money. Then Park says, "Next time I will take double the money from you," and leaves. After this, Tae goes home, and Dak-kyung says to him, "You had left the office early today. Where did you go?" Tae says, "I'd gone to meet a friend of mine." Dak-kyung feels even more angry hearing this, but she still does not tell him the truth. "I know everything about you." Dak-kyung then says to him, "You were supposed to meet Dad today, but you did not go there either." Tae says, "I will meet him tomorrow." The next day, Tae meets the chairman, and the chairman says to him, "I know what you are doing these days." The chairman warns Tae here and tells him, "Leave all this and live happily with Dak-kyung." Then, an agent of the chairman meets Ji-sun. He tells Ji-sun, "You should leave the city." Ji-sun asks, "Why should I leave the city?" That man says, "Because the chairman wants Tae and Dak-kyung to be happy with each other and for you to move out from between them." On this, Ji-sun refuses to leave the city. Then Tae meets Park and gives him money. Then Park asks him for even more money. Hearing this, Tae gets angry with him. So Park blackmails him, "I will tell your truth to everyone." Here during the talk, Park makes Tae realize, "You still like Ji-sun because if you hated her, you would have gotten her killed, but you did not do so." The meaning of this is Tae still likes Ji-sun. Hearing such words from Park, Tae realizes, "I still love only Ji-sun." Then he leaves to meet Ji-sun. Over there, Ji-sun is drinking and at the same time is watching old videos when Tae arrives there and says to her, "I know you still love me." Ji-sun says, "No, it is not like that." Tae says, "Then why are you watching these old videos? I know you still love me, and you will realize this soon." Saying this, he leaves from there. After he leaves, Ji-sun remembers her old moments, how happy we were together. Ji-sun starts crying remembering all this. The next day, Jae and Rim come to the hospital for a checkup for a baby. In fact, many years had passed since their marriage, but they did not have any baby. Therefore, they come to the hospital for a checkup. When Jae goes for the checkup, then that girl with whom Jae is currently in a relationship sends photos of Jae and herself to Rim. In fact, she does all this because Jae had now started ignoring her. When Rim sees them, she feels very bad and she leaves from the hospital. Over there, Ji-sun gets a message from Min, and she calls her to meet, so Ji-sun goes to meet her. Then Min tells her, "Park is torturing me. Please help me to save me." Here, Ji-sun becomes ready to help her. Dak-kyung sees these two talking, but she does not understand what these two are talking about. Then when Jae comes out after getting the checkup, Rim is not outside. He asks the nurse, and the nurse tells him, "Rim has left." Hearing this, Jae also comes out. He looks for Rim, but he does not find Rim. He also calls her, but Rim does not pick up his call. Over there, Tae is with his daughter when his doorbell rings. Tae goes and looks in the camera, then Park is standing outside. Park tells him, "Open the door," but Tae does not open the door. So Park gives him a threat and leaves. Then when he is leaving, Dak-kyung arrives there and she sees him and understands Tae is stalking Ji-sun through Park. After this, Dak-kyung meets the chairman and tells him all this. The chairman says, "If he is cheating on you, then leave him." Dak-kyung says, "It is possible that Tae is doing all this because of Lee. If Lee comes to us, then it is possible that Tae will not go after Ji-sun." On this, the chairman says, "Do whatever you feel is right." Then Dak-kyung is drinking when Tae arrives there. Dak-kyung says to him, "I have heard that a person who cheats once, cheats repeatedly. You will not cheat on me like Ji-sun, will you?" On this, Tae hugs her and says, "I will not." Over there, Jae goes home and looks for Rim, but Rim is not at home either. He calls her, but she does not pick up his call. Over here, Rim is in a hotel, and she is thinking about this very thing. Ji is cheating on me repeatedly. The next day, Ji messages Rim, "Where are you?" So Rim sends those same pictures back to him. Seeing this, Jae becomes very worried. Then he goes to the place to meet that girl where that girl works. He goes there and asks about that girl. Then he finds out that girl has left her work and gone. Jae becomes even more worried because of this. Then Ja meets Rim and tries to persuade her. But Rim does not listen to him here and breaks all ties with him and leaves. The next day, Park takes Min with him to a shop and tells her, "Choose a wedding ring for yourself." Hearing this, Min is shocked. Park wants to marry me, and now I will be trapped in all this forever. Then she calls and tells all this to Ji-sun and asks for help. So Ji-sun meets her and tells her, "You should leave the city." Min also agrees with her. Then Ji-sun takes her along to the railway station. Park also finds out about this, so he arrives there looking for Min. Over here, Ji-sun leaves Min at the railway station and returns. Then when Min is going towards the train, she sees Park there, so she hides. Park looks for her everywhere and reaches exactly where Min is hidden. Then he catches Min and takes her upstairs. After going there, he hits Min a lot and tells her, "Stay here." But Min does not stop and comes downstairs. Then someone comes downstairs after her. Here we are not shown his face. Min sees him and becomes very scared, and after this, Park falls down and he dies. Over there, when Ji-sun comes out, she hears some sounds. Hearing this, Ji-sun goes inside and sees that Park's dead body is there, which the police are taking away, and near it is also Ji-sun's scarf, which Ji-sun had put on Min while leaving. Ji-sun is shocked seeing this. Just then, Kim arrives there and takes her along. Over here, Tae comes home and he is worried. Da-kyung also notices this. The next morning at breakfast time, Lee says to Ji-sun, "The police have found someone's dead body at the railway station. Do you know about this?" Ji-sun says, "Yes, I know." Over there, Da-kyung also says to Tae, "Last night the police found Park." Asks, "How do you know all this?" Da-kyung says, "I have seen a post on social media." Then she says to Tae, "You know Park, don't you?" Tae says, "No, I don't know him." Then when Ji-sun comes to the hospital, she meets Kim and asks him, "What were you doing at the railway station last night?" On this, Kim says, "I had gone there to drop someone." Here he also tells Ji-sun, "I saw Tae leaving from there last night." Hearing this, Ji-sun is shocked and thinks, perhaps Tae was the one who killed Park. Both are talking when Ji-sun gets a call from Min, who tells her, "When I came downstairs after escaping from Park, then Tae came after me, and I feel that Tae was the one who killed Park." Hearing this, Ji-sun is surprised. Over there, Da-kyung also says to Tae, "I am firmly convinced that you are the one who killed Park." Tae says to her, "I have not done any such thing." He tries to make her understand, but Da-kyung does not listen to him. The next day, an inspector comes to question Ji-sun. He asks Ji-sun, "Is this your scarf?" So Ji-sun says, "I had gone there to drop someone, and I had given my scarf to her." The inspector says, "Okay, and if I have to ask anything again, then I will come again." Ji-sun says, "Okay." Then at night, Ji-sun meets Tae and says to him, "I know you killed Park, and because of you, the police are suspecting me." Tae says, "I have not done any such thing." Ji-sun says, "Min and Kim saw you there." On this, Tae says, "It is true. I went there because Park had asked me for money, and I went there to give those to him, but I did not kill Park. He committed suicide." Then Tae and Da-kyung are eating food when Da-kyung asks Tae, "Why did you kill Park?" Tae says, "I did not kill him." Da-kyung says, "Then why did you go to the railway station?" Tae does not give an answer to this, so Da-kyung becomes angry, and she fights with Tae regarding this matter. The next day, Tae is returning from the office when the police arrest him in Park's murder case. Tae then calls Da-kyung and the chairman for help, but no one comes to help him. Seeing this, Tae is worried. Then when Ji-sun finds this out, she brings Min there and gives her statement. From her statement and Min's, the police accept Park committed suicide. In fact, it happens exactly like that. Park tries to stop Min, but Min does not stop and leaves after breaking up with him. From this, Park realizes, "I am not a good person. For this reason, Min is leaving me and going." Thinking all this, he commits suicide. Over here, after Min and Ji-sun's statement, the police close this case, calling it a suicide case, and release Tae. Then, after coming out, Tae says thank you to Ji-sun for helping him. Here, Tae realizes, "I made a very big mistake by leaving Ji-sun." After this, Tae goes home and fights with Da-kyung about why she did not come to help him. Here, Tae gets very angry with Da-kyung, to the extent that he even says, "I made a very big mistake by marrying you." After this, he leaves from there. The next morning, Da-kyung gets a call from someone who tells her the police have closed Park's case, calling it a suicide case. Hearing this, Da-kyung realizes her mistake. "I made a very big mistake by doubting Tae, and because of this, a lot of distance has also come between the two." Over there, Ji-sun goes to the hospital and Kim asks her, "Why did you save Tae?" Ji-sun says, because I did not want anyone to say to my son that you are the son of a murderer. The next day, Taye meets the chairman, and the chairman says to him, this whole problem has been created because of you. If you had not talked with that park, then all this would not have happened, and you would not have had to go to the police station. Then the chairman also says, I am tolerating all this because of Dokyung. Therefore, you forget your past life and pay attention to the present. Over there, Lee is at school when some boy talks about his dad, so Lee fights with him. Then Lee is at home when Ji-sun comes and asks him, why did you fight? Lee says, because he was talking about dad. Then Ji-sun scolds him for fighting, so Lee gets up and leaves from there. The next day, Taye is going to the office when Dokyung tries to talk to him, but Taye is angry with her. For this reason, he does not talk to her and leaves from there. Then at night, Dokyung again tries to talk to Taye and tells him, let's have dinner together, mine. But Taye refuses her and leaves to have dinner with someone else. Seeing this, Dokyung is worried and thinks about how she can bring Taye back to her. The next day, Dokyung meets Lee and tells him, you should stay with me. Here, with her talk, she brings Lee over to her side. So Lee decides to stay with her. Then Ji-sun comes home and Taye is at home. Seeing him, Ji-sun is surprised. Just then, Lee comes carrying his luggage. Ji-sun asks him, where are we going? Lee says, from today onwards, I will stay with Dad. Saying this, he starts to leave. Ji-sun tries to stop him, but he does not stop and leaves with Taye. When Lee comes home with Taye, Dokyung says, welcome to him nicely. Then everyone eats food together. After this, Lee goes to his room to sleep, but he is not able to sleep properly there. The next morning, when Lee comes ready for school, Taye is playing with Jenny at that time. Seeing this, Lee does not feel good. Then Lee is going to school, so Taye leaves Jenny and goes to drop Lee at school. Seeing this, Dokyung feels very bad. Then Lee is sitting in a place eating noodles when he calls Ji-sun. So Ji-sun talks to him very nicely. Hearing Ji-sun's talk, Lee feels, my mom has no sorrow over my leaving. Thinking all this, he becomes upset. Then Dokyung's mom comes to meet her and says, why have you brought Lee here? On this, Dokyung says, I have done all this to keep Taye with me, but you do not worry, I will soon send Lee far away from here. Over there, Ji-sun is in the hospital, and looking at Lee's photo, she is missing him. Then, at night, Ji-sun goes to a shopping mall. There she sees Lee with Taye and Dokyung, who are taking clothes for him. Seeing this, she feels very bad, and she returns from there. Then Lee is at home and he messages Ji-sun and tells her, pack the rest of my luggage. Ji-sun says, okay. Then Taye is taking out clothes to change his clothes when he finds a file from which he finds out Dokyung wants to send Lee abroad. Seeing this, Taye becomes angry, and he fights with Dokyung regarding this matter. Then he goes to a place and drinks. After this, he goes to Ji-sun's house to get Lee's luggage. There, Ji-sun tells him, I am going to leave this place very soon. Hearing this, Taye does not feel good. He tells her, please stay. So Ji-sun says to him, by what right are you stopping me? On this, Taye says to her, I still love you and I made a very big mistake by leaving you. Here, during the conversation, they come close to each other and start kissing. After this, both spend the full night together. During this, Dokyung calls Taye repeatedly, but Taye does not pick up her call. The next morning when Taye goes home, Dokyung asks him, where were you last night? So Taye tells her a lie, I was with my friend. Over there, Lee is in a gaming center, and he is in a lot of stress remembering all the old things, due to which his mental health is deteriorating, and he had not gone home at night either. Over here, Dokyung tells this matter to Taye. Lee has not come home all night. Hearing this, Taye is worried, but just then, Lee arrives there. Dokyung asks him, where were you all night? Lee says, I was with a friend of mine. Then Ji-sun is in the hospital when she gets a call from the school and they tell her, come to the school quickly. So Ji-sun goes to the school quickly. Taye has also come there. The teachers tell both of them, Lee fought with some boys in the school today. They say to Taye and Ji-sun, you make him understand that he should not do this again. If he does this again, then we will punish him. After the teachers leave, Taye and Ji-sun ask Lee why he fought, so Lee talks to them in anger as well. From their talk, Taye and Ji-sun understand the effect of our divorce and fight has fallen on Lee, due to which he is in stress and is doing such things. Then, after coming out, Ji-sun says to Taye, as long as Lee was with me, he did not do any such thing. Ever since he went to you, he is doing such things. Ji-sun says to Taye, all this has happened because of you. On this, Taye says, you are right, all this has happened only because of me. After this, Taye takes Lee and comes home. Seeing him, Dokyung asks Taye what has happened to him. So Taye tells her everything. He fought in the school. Then Ji-sun is looking for something in the house when a box falls down from her hand. There are some things in it. These things do not belong to Lee. He had stolen them from others. Seeing this, Ji-sun is very worried. Over there, Taye is also very worried for Lee. The next day, Taye and Ji-sun take Lee to that boy with whom Lee had fought. Ji-sun asks for forgiveness from them on behalf of Lee, but those people do not forgive her. Just then, Dokyung arrives there. That boy's mom knows Dakyung, so Dakyung settles the whole matter by talking. Seeing this, Ji-sun silently leaves from there. Then Tae notices this fact. Ji-sun has become completely alone. Then at night, when Ji-sun is going home, Tae calls her and calls her to meet. Ji-sun goes to meet him and Tae says to her, "I am making a very big mistake by keeping Lee with me. Therefore, I have told Lee to go back to you, but Lee has flatly refused." Here we are also shown a flashback. When Tae told Lee to go back to Ji-sun, Lee said in anger, "I will not go back to Mom, because Mom did not feel bad at all about my leaving the house. Therefore, I will not go to her." Then the flashback ends and Ji-sun feels very sad knowing this. Then Ji-sun, along with Tae, meets Lee and tells him, "Come back home." But Lee gets angry with her and refuses to go home. Here we find out that on the night Tae and Ji-sun were together, that night Lee had gone there and he had seen both of them kissing together, because of which he has now started hating them, because he feels what both of them have done is wrong and both of them are making a fool of me. When Ji-sun hears all this, she is shocked. Then Tae tries to make Lee understand, but Lee does not listen to anyone and leaves from there. The next day, a patient comes to the hospital. Ji-sun tries her best to save her, but is not able to save her. For this reason, that patient's dad is very angry, and he files a complaint against Ji-sun. Ji-sun has killed my daughter deliberately, due to which Ji-sun is removed from the hospital until the inquiry is completed. After this, Ji-sun comes home and she is very worried. Over there, Dakyung is in a club with some ladies, who during the conversation tell Dakyung, Ji-sun has been removed from the hospital. Hearing this, Dakyung is happy. Then she goes home and spends good time with Tae. The next day, Tae again tells Lee, "Stay with Ji-sun," but Lee refuses this time as well. Then when Kim finds out that Ji-sun has been removed from the hospital, he goes to her house to meet Ji-sun and knocks on the door, but Ji-sun does not open the door, so he returns. The next day, Tae also finds out all this, so he goes to meet Ji-sun, but Ji-sun is not at home at that time, so he returns. Over there, Ji-sun is on a beach and she has also turned off her phone. The next day, Tae talks to the hospital director. Then the director says, "The inquiry is happening. If Ji-sun has not done anything deliberately, then she will be taken back into the hospital." Hearing this, Tae goes out. Just then Kim is there. He gets a call from someone who tells him, "I have seen Ji-sun on the beach." Hearing this, Kim starts to go there. Then Tae asks him, "What happened?" So Kim tells him, "Ji-sun is on the beach." After this, Kim goes to meet Ji-sun. Tae also goes after him. Over there, Ji-sun jumps into the water to commit suicide. Then Kim reaches there and saves her. After this, Tae also reaches there, and seeing those two together, he feels bad, so he returns. After this, Tae comes home and he is very upset, so he does not talk to anyone and goes to take a shower. Then there is a small dinner party at their house. When everyone is having dinner, Lee does not feel good there, so he gets up and leaves. Then, after a little while, Dakyung is going towards her room for some work. At that time, Lee is with Jenny. Jenny is crying, so Lee is making her quiet. When Dakyung hears the sound of crying, she immediately comes there. She feels Lee made Jenny cry. Therefore, she gets very angry with Lee. The others also hear her voice. Then Tae also gets up and arrives there. Over here, Dakyung is scolding Lee a lot, so Lee also does not remain silent and says to her, "I was making Jenny quiet." Just then Tae arrives there and he tells Lee, "Remain silent." But Lee does not remain silent, so Tae gives him a hard slap. Lee feels very bad because of this. Then Tae leaves from there. Over there, Ji-sun is in the hospital. In fact, Kim pulls Ji-sun out of the water, but she does not regain consciousness, so he gets her admitted to the hospital. Ji-sun is unconscious when she hears Lee's voice, so she wakes up and she does not feel anything is right. Then she calls Lee and Lee tells her everything. After this, Ji-sun goes straight to Dakyung's house and rings her doorbell. When Dakyung sees Ji-sun outside, she does not open the door. Just then, Lee arrives there, so Dakyung tells him, "Do not open the door and go to the room," but Lee does not listen to anything of hers and goes out and meets Ji-sun. Then Dakyung also comes after him and tells Lee, "Go back inside the house." So Lee again does not listen to her and goes and sits in Ji-sun's car. Seeing this, Dakyung starts getting angry with Ji-sun, so Ji-sun also does not remain silent here. She says to Dakyung, "Tae has still not been able to forget me. He still wants to stay with me." Here she also tells her, "Tae has spent the night with me." Hearing this, Dakyung feels very bad. Then Lee comes home and he says, "I am sorry to his mom for leaving her and going." Over there, Tae goes home and asks about Lee. Then Dakyung tells him, "Lee has gone with Ji-sun." Tae cannot believe this. He goes into the room and looks. Then in truth, Lee is not there. Then he comes to Dakyung. So Dakyung fights with him about why he cheated on her. After this, Young goes to her room in a huff. Over there, Lee says to Ji-sun, "I will never stay with Dad now, and you also do not stay with him." Ji-sun says, "Okay." Then Young decides to take a divorce from Taye, and she leaves with the chairman. Not only this, they also turn Taye out of the house and also take all the business from him. Taye becomes very worried because of all this. Then he meets Ji-sun and tells her, "We should be together again." But Ji-sun refuses him and leaves from there. The next day, Ji-sun and Lee go to a place to eat food. Taye also arrives there and tries to persuade them, but those people do not agree, so Taye starts to commit suicide. Just then, Ji-sun arrives there and saves him, and also forgives him. Lee sees all this, so he gets angry and leaves from there. Ji-sun goes after him, but Lee leaves from there. Then Taye and Jae-sun look for him everywhere, but they do not find Lee anywhere. So they also file a missing complaint for Lee with the police. So the police also start looking for Lee, but they do not find Lee either. Then we are shown a scene 1 year later, where Taye has now reformed, and taking his scripts, he goes to show them in various places. Over here, Ji-sun has joined the hospital again and remains busy with her work. Over there, Da-kyung also now puts her full focus on completing her further studies. In this way, these three are spending their lives. But Taye and Ji-sun still miss Lee a lot. Because of us, Lee left us and went. Then one day, Ji-sun is having breakfast. Then Lee returns. Seeing him, Ji-sun is very happy, and along with this drama ends right here.